another DC comic review, and in this DC comic review I'll be covering 132 by Chip Zdarsky and also Flash 792 by Jeremy Adams. I'll get things quickly organized as to what I'll be reviewing first, and as you can see here, we'll be moving into Chip Zdarsky's Batman 132. And first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough it does, to which we do get to meet where Batman is in this particular universe, to where Failsafe has sent him to. To which I give this cover a 7.5 out of 10. I just want to point out that I will not be covering the backstory, but I have read the backstory and it's actually quite interesting, and also really good to see a good interpretation of Tim Drake. So I highly recommend it. So moving into some of the art around the beginning of the story, you get to see what's happening in relation to this world to which Failsafe has sent Bruce Wayne Batman to. And in it, we get to see how Bruce Wayne interacts with this particular universe. I must admit, it's actually a little bit more exciting as to what was done in, say, the Dark Crisis saga. You do get a little bit more of a fleshing out with the story of like where Bruce Wayne is, what he's doing. Of course, we end up meeting this version sort of like of the Joker and who he sort of sees and interacts as the Joker. And there even seems to appear to be maybe even an Alfred in this particular universe that he's been sent to. And as we see a little bit more with the story, until we sort of like move into the end here. Jumped a little bit, where in Tim Drake's case, he's examining something around the toy man or the toy maker. And I'm wondering as well, with the case that's happening in the Tim Drake one, is it possible that some of the toy man's was also used on Failsafe in its creation? And it's a very, very likely outcome, especially with the background story. So for the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. I do feel it could have been cleaned up a little bit more. Now it's time to move in relation to the story rating. And first things first, did we get any comic references to, say, any of the previous issues connecting to this series or to what's actually happening? No, he didn't. I'm sorry, Chip. You're going to have to include it, because even though this one gets... Well, you'll find out when we get to the score. Next is the area of time. We got no indication of what time it is in this world. We already know where it's taking place, so it's in this particular universe's Gotham. But it is, but isn't Gotham. Then, last but not least, moving into the cast of characters, we had Leslie, Judge Chambers, of course, Bruce Wayne, Batman, Red Mask, Selena Kyle, Killer Croc, and last but not least, Toyman. For the overall story rating, this one was actually a little bit more exciting than some of the previous. I did give it a 7.5 out of 10. So now it's time to move on to The Flash. As I quickly get this organized. So, moving into first things first, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that's happening inside of the story? Well, of course, we can see on the story we've got the character of Kid Flash, Wallace or Ace, and also Bart Allen, Impulse. And for this cover, I gave it an 8 out of 10, as it does, in fact, work in relation to what's happening with the story as we move into part 3 of it. We will now jump into the internal art, as well as some of the things that are happening here. Of course, the speedsters meet up for a bit of a meeting. As things continue, we still get to see what's happening on the villain side of things, and Impulse and Kid Flash end up managing saving who would be considered like an organic conduit. We still don't know the character's name, but I'm interested to learn the character's name. And also what will happen with the character, I guess, after this event. I do look forward to finding out the character's name, but we don't actually get to learn who this nameless speedster is. We move into some more of the events that are happening and occurring with the Fraction. And last but not least, we get a reunion back again with the Flash members, including catching up with Max Mercury and whoever else is there. So really good. So for the internal art, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Moving into the story. First things first, did we get any comic book references? Yes, we did. The first one we got was actually into the 1 Minute War special that came out this year. The next is the Area of Time, to which I think I can't see him going like to 60 minutes or 60 seconds with this part-time thing. But it would be nice to sort of like see in the storytelling, sort of like as to where this is actually taking place or what time frame that this is taking place within this 1 minute war. Like even if it's like within the first 2 to 3 seconds, next might be the maybe the 5 to 15 second mark, and all the way up to say the full-on 1 minute war or the full-on 1 minute. Next is location. Well, this felt a little bit lazy on the story, on the writer's behalf, and about the only thing we got was nearby. It would have been a little bit more easier if we got a Fraction facility in this. But apart from that, nothing really standout-ish. Moving into the next thing, and that is the cast of characters. We, of course, had Barry with his wife. We had the Wally West family. We had Kid Flash, Impulse. We had Jay Garrick. We had Miss Murder. Mr. Terrific was even mentioned. We also had Max Mercury, and we also got to see Superman, and I believe it was Atom at the end of the story. Well, until then, just one more thing, the story rating. And for the story rating, I gave this an 8 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.